Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Reading Rule, y'all. This week, we're on our second installment of our 4-part deep dive into Melissa Wyatt's Funny How Things Change. In this video, I'm going to discuss how place functions and features in the text. Well, I reckon let's get to it. Funny How Things Change is set deep in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia, and place is as much a character in the story as it is the setting. The mountains and landscape are a constant presence in the book, much as they would be if you were there in person. They loom, creating a green fishbowl that feels like part of Remy, our protagonist, but feels alien to outsiders. The twisting and turning roads confusing, and the inability to see the blue horizon disconcerting. Remy knows the mountains better than he knows himself. The holler and the mountain were named after his family a long time back before anyone thought of coal. Now, Walker Mountain was played out. Not worth anything, everyone said. Remy was a little boy when he first heard someone say that and thought it was the dumbest thing he'd ever heard. What was a mountain supposed to be worth anyway? To Remy, it was more than his home. It was woven through every memory he had. He knew every path, every blade of grass, the course of the streams, and the biggest trees. Knew where to find wintergreen and wild ginger. Had caught tadpoles and turtles. He knew that mist in March smelled different than mist in June, and that mist in October was a smell of sadness. But none of that added up to what other people called value. So here we see how the mountain is kind of an extension of Remy's selfhood. It's part of him. It's named after him, well, named after his family. And it's just part of every memory that he has. It's a constant presence in his life, and so he knows it better than anybody. But not everyone appreciates it the same way Remy does, though. Remy's mom, for example, out-migrated to Virginia Beach, a place that felt foreign to Remy. He goes to live with her for a little while, and says, even away from the tourist traps, the mudflats and tidal marshes were alien landscapes, and the flat voices of the people another language. The sparse, salt-stunted trees seemed as uncertain as him how to grow there. So after less than a year, his dad came, took him home. Though his mom really enjoys Virginia Beach, for Remy it just doesn't feel like home. It doesn't feel like him. He doesn't feel like he can grow and exist there. Remy's friend Jimmy doesn't seem to mind leaving to work in a carpet factory, and Remy's girlfriend Lisa wants to leave to go to college, seemingly not sad at all to be leaving the mountains. And I'll talk more about these narratives of leaving in my personal reaction to the text next week. Outsiders seem to have mixed feelings. On the one hand, the mountains are disorienting, but on the other hand, they're absolutely stunning and beautiful. Dana, an artist contracted to paint the town's water tower, explains, "You have to look straight up here to see the sky. It makes me claustrophobic." But she doesn't see that as a bad thing. It's almost a challenge, she says. That's what I felt the first day I came down here. The mountains are so beautiful, but they're not going to cut you any breaks. Do you know what I mean? She also discusses the difficulty of driving and finding your way around, asking Remy to help her find the local McDonald's, but takes a more appreciative stance than most folks. But it's worth it, right? She says. I mean, isn't that why people stay here? Even though there's no place to shop and stuff, there's something else, isn't there? Remy's home, the mountains, to many folks, including one of his school teachers, who's a returner, seems only good for leaving. But Remy isn't sure. He wants to be with Lisa, but making the decision to move with her to Pennsylvania is a lot less straightforward than he feels it ought to be. Kind of like the mountain roads he's constantly walking. And probably mostly due to the fact that this is his place. He feels home there. His family's rooted there. The mountains are part of him and he's a part of them. And so to leave them, he feels torn, like he's losing a part of himself. But he also has these narratives of leaving, and that in order to be somebody, you can't be a rural somebody in his head. And so he is also grappling with that and knowing that he should want to leave. Everyone else seems to want to leave, aside from his family and his dad. Even his mom wanted to leave and did. And so all of these things are swirling for him, and he's trying to make the best decision for him that he knows how. And that's really fraught. So there are so many rich opportunities to analyze place from so many different angles in this book. The practice of mountaintopping provides an excellent opportunity for an ecological analysis of land and climate stewardship. That Remy and his dad live in a busted trailer, and his dad hand mines their mountain and gardens to make ends meet with Remy's help from his gig at the local gas station. That provides an excellent opportunity to analyze the intersections of place and social class, especially because they sit in juxtaposition to other characters' social class positions in the text. Remy's dilemma and struggle to decide whether to stay or go, that I was talking about a little bit earlier, also offer an important opportunity to analyze narratives of leaving and how place and the dominant narratives we tell about it play an integral role in whether folks decide or feel forced to stay or go. I could go on, list quote after quote to illustrate the importance of place in the text and all that an analysis of it throughout the whole text could reveal, but I won't. Instead, I hope that you and your students pick it up and read it, engaging in that work together. There's a link to buy the book in the description below. Next week, I'll talk more about narratives of leaving when I outline my personal reaction to the text. So thanks for stopping by, and I hope you all stay tuned. So come on back now, would you?